Hello, this is a lesson on reported suggestions for students of Bachillerato. Suggestions can take different forms in direct speech. For example, we can use the expression let's plus the infinitive. Let's go to the theater. We can use why don't we, as in why don't we go to the theater. We can use why not and the infinitive. Why not go to the theater? We can use how about plus the gerund. How about going to the theater? We can use the modal verb shall we. Shall we go to the theater? Or we can use could either as a statement or as a question. We could go to the theater. Could we go to the theater? All these mean the same. Yes, it's a suggestion to go to the theater. The most common reporting verb is suggest. And there are two grammatical structures that we can use. We have the option of using the verb in the ing form. Julie suggested going to the theater. We can also use a that clause with the base form of the verb in the subordinate clause. This is a subordinate clause introduced by the word that, then a subject, and then the verb in the base form. Julie suggested that they go to the theater. There is no back shift here. A third option would be to use the modal should. Julie suggested that they should go to the theater. When the suggestion is in the negative, for example, let's not argue anymore, we add the word not before the verb. So we have these three different possibilities according to the structures seen in the previous slide. He suggested not arguing anymore. He suggested that they not argue anymore. He suggested that they should not argue anymore, or that they shouldn't argue anymore. Now you're in. How about playing a game of tennis? Shayla said. So what did Shayla suggest? Shayla suggested playing a video game of tennis. Or Shayla suggested that they play a game of tennis. Yes, the first one with the gerund. Shayla suggested playing. And the second one with the that clause. Shayla suggested that we or they play a game of tennis. Let's order hamburgers instead of Indian food, Martin said. So what did Martin suggest? Martin suggested ordering hamburgers instead of Indian food. Yes, the verb is order, so we use the gerund of order. Martin suggested ordering hamburgers instead of Indian food. The other structure, Martin suggested that they or we order hamburgers instead of Indian food. Shall we go over to John's house? Mike suggested. So what did Mike suggest? Mike suggested that we or they go over to John's house, or we can use the gerund. Mike suggested going over to John's house. The verb is go in the gerund. Mike suggested going over to John's house. Mike suggested that we go over to John's house, or that they go over to John's house. Let's not jump to any conclusions. This is a negative. Denise suggested. So what did Denise suggested? The verb is jump. So Denise suggested not jumping to any conclusions. And with the that structure, Denise suggested that they or we not jump to any conclusions. So watch this case when we use the that clause. We have to be careful to use the base form of the verb. Good. I hope you liked it, and I hope it is good for you.